Hello everyone, this is Narlo here. Narlo, can you wave to the fine people? Good boy. We are here in front of Akanon. Yes, we are back. This is Narlo, my gnome enchanter. This is not the original. Not the original. We're not on EverQuest Live. This is the Project 99 project. Private server, the classic server that does EverQuest as it was up until about 2001, 99 to 2001. It's got the original game and the first two expansions, the Rise of Kunark and the Scars of Velius. The classic experience. Like when folks on WoW talk about the classic vanilla WoW, they talk about, generally they mean the base game, the Burning Crusade, and the Wrath of the Lich King. That and the first two expansions are considered the ultimate in original World of Warcraft and what it truly meant. Everything before the world went to pot in Cataclysm. Same thing with us hardcore, old school nostalgia EverQuest players. When we talk about old school EverQuest and classic EverQuest, we're talking about the base game and the first two expansions. Everything before basically Planes of Power, when once again the world changed and everything went to pot. I don't know why these companies insist on making such drastic, gigantic changes to the games, but that's a rant for another time. Anyway, we are back. We are leveling up Narlo again. I know when I last left off, we had just finished up doing a tour of Akanon, showing the important places around Akanon. And we are going to continue. I said the next was going to be Kelethin, the city of the Wood Elves. And that's where we're going to head next. We're going to go over there and give you a little tour around Kelethin, show you the important places, maybe help you find your way around it a little bit, you know, if you want to be an elf. And quite frankly, I'm a little suspicious of those people who want to be elves. But first, before we do that, we are going to swap over to another character right quick. And we are switching over here to another continent on the other side of the world. We're showing you Sebastian. And Sebastian, he is a human cleric. He is a devotee of Erelisi Mar, the goddess of love. And we are here in Freeport. In fact, we are standing right outside the vault of Freeport because I've got a project that I am working on. Let me go back to first person. We will go on into the vault. Got a project I am working on, as you see here. Let's open up my banker. There we go. As you see, I am busy over here collecting armor pieces. Of course, the only thing we've got right now is cloth armor, but I'm busy collecting armor pieces, and I am also going to be going and working over here at the Emporium, because inside the Emporium, we are low on drink. I need to go buy some more. I'll have to hit one of the inns around here. Over here at the Emporium, you have Mr. Wispin and his brother, Mr. Wispin, Liston Wispin, and Svenal Wispin. And they are tailors. They are the tailoring people. They sell the sewing kits and the various patterns for building small tailoring items on the looms and all that are scattered about. And that is going to be our first, I think, tailoring and leatherworking, I think, are going to be our let's run into the Jade Emporium here, are going to be our first trade skills, because I feel a little bit guilty, and it goes along with that whole thing with us collecting items, collecting armor items in the... Have you got water flasks? There we go. Actually, I'd like to have a flask of milk. We'll go with the water flask. I'll buy a couple of those. Let's buy 2. There we go. Did we buy them? Oh, you can't afford to buy them. Oh, I guess I can only buy one then, can I? Alright, I know. Tell me I can't afford it. And I think it's control. There we go. That way we bought one. Let's see, right? Yep, so now we have 2 water flasks. We've still got 2 iron rations. And still got some bread cakes. Alright. Getting a little low on money. We're down to our last penny. Wow, did you see that? Look at there. Our last penny. Our last copper piece. We'll have to do a little more hunting. I was pretty flush with cash there until I recently bought most of the rest of my first level spells for my cleric. There's about 3 maybe that I haven't got yet, but they're not really the more essential ones. And of course, I bought the 2 backpacks here to help me carry more loot so that I don't have to keep coming out of the hunting grounds quite so often and stop hunting. And yes, we've got a raging thunderstorm going on. I always loved the thunderstorms in EverQuest. They were one of my favorite things to have happen. When I saw the first one, I was here, it'd be back in 1999. I'd only been playing for a short while. Probably just a few hours. I was on my half-elf paladin, Darinus, who was also a devotee of the Mar, of Erelisi Mar up there. He was also a follower of the goddess of love, of course. Let's zone into the next part of Freeport here. There we are. Just realized we're in windowed mode right now, so y'all might have seen the resolution shift a little bit. And unlike other games, unlike, for instance, Lord of the Rings, whenever it rains in Lord of the Rings, you know, it rains all over the world. If it's raining in one zone, it's raining in every zone. And that's the difference here, is that it can be raining in one zone and be absolutely clear in this zone. And then if we go on out that way and go into East Commons, it can be raining again. So the rain is not universal like it is in Lotro. But we are going to head on out. As I said, I'm feeling kind of guilty. We're going to take a run across here, and I am going to see what time of day is it. Time. It is 4 p.m. in game time, so I don't think we are going to be able to... I don't think I'm going to be able to go where I'm wanting to go. So instead, I am going to do a little more hunting here in the Freeport newbie zone. That is some weird stuff going on there. Looks my way apprehensively. Well, at least he's not a tombstone. And Guard Bonlo is going to walk on past that dark elf there and do absolutely nothing about him. The fact that the guards don't do anything about that dark elf there, and the fact that the first merchant that you come across when you come into the gates here at the west gate is Boomba the Big, who's a big ogre merchant, who, if you pull up his inventory, he's real friendly to you, but he's got dwarf pickles, elf pickles, gnome pickles, halfling pickles, human pickles, orc pickles, paladin pickles, pixie pickles, paladin pickles. Should tell you that maybe things aren't quite all that kosher over here in West Freeport. The guards might not be, let's say, working entirely for the forces of good? Maybe? So, I'm going to see about if we can take on a few more of these skeletons and the orcs, the Death Pawn orcs and the skellies and all, get some more coin. The best part about it is, as well, is that it's these humanoid creatures, the skeletons and the orcs pawns are the ones that you get the armor and weapons off of. You know, right there, he's carrying a sword. So we'll go ahead and see if we can take him on. In fact, let's drop a smite on him. There we go. It's nice to be a caster. There you go. See right there, we just found another cloth shawl. So that'll go into my inventory. And we'll sell the rusty short sword. And now I will come on out here and we will continue this until it gets closer to daybreak. And I will see y'all again whenever the day breaks. Just popping back in here for a moment. The hunting is going well. We are almost full on our bags here. And we are really picking up. In fact, we got too much. As you see, we're already encumbered, so our agility's gone down, and we're not going to be able to run as much, so I really need to go back and sell. But I did want to point this out as we walk along. Look how freaking dark it is. I really do owe my brother Keebs an apology. Let me take this skeleton on here. I may have mentioned it before, but I really owe him an apology. The only reason we got this circle of light around us is because I'm happen to be carrying a fire beetle eye here, and the fire beetle eyes act as a really puny little lantern. So that's why he is lit up as much as he is. But yeah, you see how dark everything is. I mean, we can't see very far at all. I mean, we can't even see the wall until we get close enough for the lanterns there to light up the wall as we come up. So I have to apologize to him. Whenever we first played back 20 years ago, we actually started at Freeport. I told you my first character was a half-elf. Ooh, and he's carrying a spear. Let's go get him. That'll be a nice thing to sell. I was playing a half-elf paladin, and the half-elves have night vision. They have infravision. In fact, almost every race except for humans and barbarians have night vision. So I couldn't understand whenever we were out hunting why it was we were running around and he couldn't see stuff. I'd be like, there's a skeleton right over there. Why doesn't he go after that skeleton? And we'd be going like this. Well, it's because he couldn't see a damn thing. That's why he wouldn't go after that skeleton. And this is actually not as dark as it was. They have tried, the Project 99 people have tried to turn down the gamma as far as they can in certain zones like this for the human characters. But it's still not as dark as it was back then. So big apologies, Keeb. I am very sorry, man. But you see what life is like as a human in this game. Until you get the ability to cast, or have friends who can cast the vision spells on you, you have a kind of a rough time of it at times. Daytime is coming. It's about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in game time here. So we are going to leave Freeport behind. I am going to head out to parts west. I'm going to start traveling out into deeper lands here in the Freeport area. You get to escape this time, skeleton. So we're going to head out. I'm going to try to follow this left wall as much as possible, because we are in a situation where, you know, we're only 3rd level, and we're heading into the common lands here. We should be zoning in just a moment. We're going to zone into the commons, and the commons are really for levels like 5 and up. 5 up until about 10 or so is the East Commons here, I think. So we're going to be a little bit over our head, but not too terribly much. Go back on that way. You see the little camp we just passed with Fizz standing at it. You notice you don't see any mobs out there now, and that's a good way to tell you're getting to a one of these big wide open zone areas. Is if you don't see any mobs anywhere or any kind of NPCs or anything, you're probably getting close to a zone line. So we are going to head on out of here into the East Commons. We're getting the wilderness sound. Hear the ambient noise. That's the wilderness ambient noise that kicks in whenever you're away from a city and get out the city limits into an actual wilderness area. Back into the wilds. You're no longer in civilized company. Now we have to be careful along here a little bit, because there are some undead mummies and stuff that wander along these paths, and I think they're on the same spawn table as cougars. There are cougars that wander along that path. and can come up into this area where we are here. And not the good kind of cougar either. We're talking about the four-legged kind with teeth and fur. Not the two-legged kind with cat teeth and artificial furs. So we're going to hug the left wall of it here. That'll keep us out of the more dangerous area. And also that will allow us to pass by one of the landmarks of EverQuest. Back in the old days, you don't see it ever on the live servers anymore. There's just not the thing going on. But we are passing by the road tunnel. This is the East Commons tunnel right here. This is the Bazaar. This is the selling area. Anybody who's got anything to sell, auction off, this is where they come. This place is always packed round the clock. You see it just goes on and on back there with people selling stuff. All sorts of things. And that's what this is. You see the auction channel down here. You're seeing just all these things that people are wanting to sell or wanting to buy. And the prices are way out of our league right now. Let's go on up. We are going to continue. That right there, that was a staple of EverQuest all the way up through the Cunarch period and through Velius. That was when the Plains of Power came in. The Plains of Power, the Plane of Knowledge. And the Plane of Knowledge, the big area. Was it the Plane of Knowledge? Was it Luckland? It was Luckland. I'm sorry. Shadows of Luckland was the one. Oh, I'm getting it bad. Yeah. Shadows of Luckland brought in the Bazaar. And the Bazaar was a big auction house where you would put your items on your character, set prices for them, and then park them in the auction house. And they would sit there. You'd no longer have this scrolling going on. If you wanted to know if anything was for sale, you had a search function, and you could search for it and say, okay, this vendor on this row has one at this price, this person has one at this price, and then you would go out and see about, you know, which one you wanted to buy from. But it wasn't live, you know, nobody was there. It was none of this stuff like you saw that most prices negotiable, you know, people want to haggle. It's like being in the souk, you know, or being at a flea market. It's going and haggling and working for the best price, and it's chatting and it's making friends and that sort of stuff. And as I said, they just kind of took that feeling away from EverQuest whenever Luckland came in, because of bringing that in there. You didn't have to haggle for the prices. It was like buying a car from Saturn. This is the price, and this is what you're going to pay for it. This right here is a dead Druid circle, one of the Druid teleport circles that we're used to in the past, and it is not only dead, it is undead. There's a lesser mummy down there. There's a ghoul down there, another ghoul, I think a skeleton. Yeah, just covered in undead. My paladin has hunted that area many a times, taking out the ghouls and stuff whenever he was of a more appropriate level. But as you see, what would you like your tombstone to say? They are quite a bit above our level. Not the sort of thing that we're going to be taking on anytime soon. Okay. There's a dungeon out this way too called Befallen. We may have passed it. I spent a lot of time hunting in that dungeon as well on my paladin. It's just a dungeon absolutely full of undead. But we were coming out this way, and this is what I feel guilty about. We're gonna make a little trip here. We got a little road trip. You know, my Lord of the Rings videos, we often have our road trips. Let's pull this on over this way so we get kind of a view out here of the stuff we're looking at. This is the East Commons, and we're coming up on the zone line. We're about to zone into West Commons. It won't be too much longer now. You can see right there, suddenly you see kind of a line. You don't see any real mobs coming along. It looks like the trees get real sparse. Yeah, it's because we're just about there. Is when you see the road kind of black out as well. And we should be zoning on through in just a moment here. And we'll go into the West Commons, which is a little bit larger than the East. The other thing you'll notice is that the auction spam over here will disappear as well. The channels like that are per zone, so you don't get the auction throughout the entire world. You only get it in the East Commons, thankfully. But there is a sand giant who wanders through these deserts here when he's not being camped or not being killed by people coming along. And I had been wanting to show. Mindfiend has been playing. He played for a number of hours the last couple of days, just getting to see what the EverQuest, the classic EverQuest experience, because he knows I talk about it all the time. Probably talk about it too much because it was my first MMO, and as they say, you never forget your first one. You always has a special place in your heart because that was the thing that caught you. That was the one that drug you in and captured your heart and made you go, yes, this is something I want to do. This is something I enjoy. Is that a ghoul down there? That's another ghoul down there, I believe. Yes, indeed. Once again, tombstone level, way too high for us. And that makes me think that Befallen might actually be over here. Yeah, Befallen might be down in that area. Around in this part, but we're going to pass it on by because there's no way that we can go there. Even as a cleric, we would be good for Befallen. It would be good for us as a cleric. It's good for us as a, yep, is this the door to Befallen? It is. Here's the Befallen, the dungeon of Befallen here. Go right on in there and around the corner, which we are not going to do, but you see the good work right here. Let's just peek in right quick. A little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a danger here. We ain't going to go any further than the zone line. And we're going to instantly come back out. Because if anything's standing here, yeah, look at all these corpses. Right? These are all the people that didn't make it back out. Okay? That's why we're not going to go any further than where we are right here. Because we don't want our corpse to be here as well. Let's come on out. That is a lot of dead people there. But that is a fortress area that has been taken over by the undead. I think it's 3 levels that you can go on. It's a nice dungeon, particularly if you're one of the cleric or paladin classes where you can do stuff, smite the undead and turn the undead and fight that. It's a very thematic dungeon for you if you're those type of people. So at one time, if we stay on Sebastian here, at one point in time, we may be in there hunting. But in the meantime, we are going to continue on our travel log here as we make through the West Commons, the more desert area. West Commons has got a number of environments. You got this desert part over here on the northern wall, I think. Southern wall. That's the north over there. Southern wall here, you got the desert region, and then there's kind of a plain savanna type area, and then on the other side there are hills with orc camps and all lined up along there. As you see, there's a big lake right there in the middle. So a variety of things to hunt, areas to hunt in and all. I've actually done not too much around this edge. There are, I think, piranha in that lake too. You can hunt. I've done a lot of stuff along that wall, hunting in the various orc camps, and I've been on this wall, going to Befallen and that sort of thing. But I've rarely done too much in the middle. Very little there. Even all those years I spent playing this, I'd spent very little time in the more middle areas around the lake. The lake and what's in the type of the lake and the type of vendors they have in the buildings there are still a good deal of a mystery to me. Not the kind of thing that sticks in my head like the layout of Freeport or anything like that, or how to get through the tunnels after I'm kill on sight to the militia. How to get the secret sewer tunnels in order to get to the places I need to get to. Down there are some shadow men. Yep, shadowed man. Those the invisible men who scowl at us, ready to attack. What would you like your tombstone to say? We are going to stay way up. Anything that scowls, we're going to stay way up on the wall away from them because they would kill us in a heartbeat. Another little pocket of death just perched there on the side. Let's make it on around the corner here. Once again, as I say, stay nice and high on the wall to avoid them as much as possible. There they are down there. And those are Shadow Knight. They look like, yeah, I think those are Shadowed Man pets. Those are, I think those are skeletons there. So those are like Shadow Man necromancers. The Shadow Men have classes just like PCs do. So those, I believe, are necromancers there. Definitely casters, because you saw them holding their little books open. And having the pets with them there definitely meant they're casters. So I believe they were necros. We're going to pass them on by. Not test our metal against them today. One thing about the Karanas, they are much narrow. They are long, but they are narrow. And our shielding is coming off, so let us go ahead and... Whoops. Oh, that was not what I wanted. I did not want Divine Aura. I wanted Courage. See, Divine Aura is one of those things you can only cast it ever so often. It's kind of a get-out-of-jail-free, oh crap spell. It makes you invulnerable to everything for like 20 or 30 seconds. But it's got a long cooldown, as you see there. It's going to take a long while for the cooldown to go off. So let's cast the Courage on us that we were wanting to cast. And let's hope that we don't have to use the Divine Aura anytime soon. We shouldn't. You know, it gives you a little bit of divine protection so that someone can come to your aid. I'm going to slide this back over here now because we are going to be... Oh, looking for group. There you go, out of character. SK, that's a Shadow Knight, 11th level, looking for group. Still know all the abbreviations after all this time. And as you see, we're getting near a zone line because there's a corpse. So you know a zone line isn't too far away. There we go. That is probably the clearest indicator to a zone line, especially the ones like Befallen, the dungeon zone lines, and the little line, the more common zone lines you see here. There you go. The ones that are in little canyons like this, because they are, you just look for the corpses. Once you find the corpses of the people that almost got there but didn't quite, you know you are getting close to zoning. Now we're going to stick to this right-hand wall just because it's a good habit to stay into and because I'm not wanting to fight anything. This is Kithakor Woods, Kithakor Forest. Kithakor is one of those places that it's a bit of a booby trap. Especially being that back in the day, when we first started, for the first, however many months, maybe even as long as a year, Kithakor Forest was the kind of one of the newbie hunting grounds for Rivervale. And Rivervale is where we're heading. Rivervale is the city of the hobbits, the city of the halflings. If you roll up a halfling character, you start in Rivervale. And this was kind of they've got a newbie hunting ground, just like you saw back there in West Freeport. You saw that area we were in, hunting the death fist pawns and the bats and the fire beetles and the decaying skeletons. And you've seen Narlo hunting decaying skeletons and spiders and all that, just like it, and the defective clockworks. You know, every city has a newbie zone like that. Very misty forest here, isn't it? Very foggy in here. Always foggy like this, no matter what time of the day. And at nighttime, the fog doesn't go away, it just gets darker. Burned out cabins, because there's a story here. There's a number of these burned out cabins that you see about the place. Kithakor here was kind of if the commons back there, you saw us in you saw us in the original right outside the gate of Freeport. If that's like the newbie zone for like level 1 to 4, then when you get into the East Commons, that's for like 5 to 10. Well, Kithakor is the same kind of thing. The River Vale has the Misty Thicket, where you go in as a... See, I'm not the only one that hugs the wall. Kithakor, Rivervale has a newbie area called the Misty Thicket that you go in and you hunt from like level 1 to 4, 1 to 5. And then Kithakor Woods here is kind of where you came out after that. Whenever you were in your 5 to 10, 5 to 12, you came out here and you hunted into Kithakor. Higher level mobs and all. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not down there running, because they are higher level mobs. They're mobs that I'm not quite up to fighting right yet. So that's what you did. But then at one point, the lore changed on this. And they had this big battle. It was a big event where there was a showdown between the forces of good and the forces of evil. And I believe it was an actual big GM event and all that. I didn't get to see it or participate in it. I did have a job back then too. And if things happened when I was at work, well, things just happened when I was at work and you didn't get to involve yourself in them. That was one of the big things about the MMOs back then that just wouldn't fly now, is that you could have events that took place and would never happen again. You know, if you can imagine that in any of the MMOs and all now, I mean, can you imagine a Yule event? Could you imagine Winterhome and Frostbluff, that it being open for like 3 hours one night and then not ever being open again? No, you couldn't. People would raise riot. But stuff like that, stuff like the GM events back there, that was just common. Well, not common, but it happened that you would have a one-time event that happened, and if you weren't around for it, well, you just missed it because it happened. You know, they don't repeat it again. You don't have a giant battle again. So the forces of good and the forces of evil met here. They had a big battle, and at the end of it, good kind of won, but both sides, it was one of those Pyrrhic victories where both sides were so destroyed that they never fought again. But it changed the nature of the wood. In the daytime, it's a like level 5 to level 10 hunting area for the people here in Rivervale to come out and go hunting in their teens. But at nighttime, this turns into a high-level undead forest. All the mobs are replaced with, and yes, we're near zone line again. All the mobs are replaced with like levels 40s and 50 undead, zombies and mummies and all sorts of ghouls, wraiths, all that sort of stuff. Creep the thing, and it's death on wheels out there. So that is why we waited for daylight to make this trip. And to show you why I've been working on trying to level up a bit and get some armor. See, there we go. It's raining here. Listen to that music for a second. Just happy, joyful polka music, you know. You hear the tubas and all. But let me tell you, you spend a lot of time in Rivervale, you either turn the music off or you go insane. And to be honest, I never turned the music off, so that, yeah, might explain a lot. So this is Rivervale. This is the home of the halflings. This is where there's the Fool's Gold, which is the big inn that sits right in the big tavern that sits right in the middle of it. I think the Rogues Guild is in that. In fact, the rogue might be the rogue leader up there. But you come around this way and you see some of the housing. The little houses built into the sides of hills. Don't have round doors, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you where they might have got the idea to have that kind of architecture. It's a puzzle to me. And the little hairy-footed, barefooted people, too. Two things you need to know. Two things in particular. You can see that the halfling deputies, their guards, have a very almost Zorro look about them. And halflings, like their women, very endowed, shall we say. Every halfling woman in this Rivervale is is it décolletage? Is that how you, is that the word that you use for the rather exuberant cleavage and the low-cut tops? Yeah, they all look like they should be on the St. Pauli's Girl, front of a St. Pauli's Girl bottle. Zoning again. Surprisingly, no dead bodies here. Let's see what we find on the other side, but shouldn't be too many because we are hitting, this is coming into the Misty Thicket now. This is the halfling version of the area you saw where we were fighting the gnomes and the area you saw right outside of the West Freeport gate. More halfling houses. This is where all the beginning level, the early level halflings come out to ply their trade and to learn how to, like that one right over there, you know, running around, having a happy time killing things, learning his trade, learning how to fight and how to use his character and all. And this unfortunate event right here, Baldurian's corpse. Yeah, Mindfiend and I were over there at West Commons, and we were killing in the newbie zone, and I said, how would you like to see a sand giant? And he was like, yeah, sure. So we went out into the commons and all, and I tried to find some of the giants, but apparently they were all being camped and hunted because, as you saw, we didn't see any as we came through either. So that was a shame, but we were on the far end. I said, you want to see what the hobbits live? And we said, yeah, sure. So we came on over here. And we were hunting some of the beetles and all in this area. The what are they? Clack-tack beetles? Oh, that's a spiderling. Yeah, this zone's version of a there it is, right over there. This zone's version. Oh, it's got fire beetles too. There are beetles called like a clack-tack beetle or something like that, and we were been hunting those, and we decided to pull basically one more. It was getting late. We were going to fight one more and learned, yeah, you don't do that. You think I'd know from my old days. There you go, clack-knack warrior. Think I'd know from your old days. The most sure thing to end the night whenever you say, yeah, we need to call it a night. It's getting late. Let's have one more kill. That's the most sure way to have a party wipe and end up having a 2-hour corpse run. And yeah, I got Mindfiend killed. I'm sorry about that, man. I'm trying to make it up to you. There we go. Trying to make it up to you. We're working on getting you some armor and everything to try and do it. But you see, let's see, how long's this corpse got? I want to say it's got about whenever we I guess because we were still in a group, and that told me how long it had. It had about 6.5 days, so we should be able to get his corpse back to him, assuming he still wants to play. We should be, or do whatever. We should be able to get his corpse back to him Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon when I'm off work again. But in the meantime, sorry, man. So, yeah. We'll have some armor and all for you whenever you get back in, and just a bit of a saying, sorry. So that'll end our little excursion, our little trip here to the Halfling Lands. We will see y'all again next time, and I'm going to go see if I can go to the Fool's Goat and maybe chat up a friendly barmaid for a while. We'll see y'all next time, and bye-bye.